Hi everyone, it's Penny Black and Jill Foster here with video number 4 in our Sketch School video series. And this series is just all about revisiting and learning from sketches from previous videos and ebooks, but using them with new Christmas themed Penny Black products and just sharing how I make sketches work for me over time. So not just a one and done with a sketch, but being able to return to a sketch again and again to provide a starting place when you might be feeling stuck or not sure what to do with some new products or products in your stash that you just want to use. So here is the original sketch. This features that heart down in that left hand corner of the card. This is die cut and you're using sort of the negative piece left over, and adding either a stamped image or a die cut image into that heart. And this is such a great sketch to revisit and make fresh just by changing that shape. So instead of using a heart, we're going to use a different shape there. So if you love sketches and you love card ideas all compiled together, I do have 3 ebooks that are available. I'll list and link them for you down below, full of card sketches and card ideas. And you can keep returning to these sketches over and over again to make them fresh and new with whatever you have in your stash or new items you may have. So I like to prep my sketch items and in advance, and what I've done here from Canson 140-pound watercolor paper is I have cut using Penny Black's classy frames. I'm only using a portion of the frame, and I've put it again kind of down where that heart was in the sketch in that left hand corner. I've cut extra frames so I can do sort of an inlay technique and also layer those up so there's some thickness and just sort of some dimension to those frames. There you can see what the actual full frame looks like, but I like this sort of off to the left hand side that the sketch inspiration is giving me. So I'm stamping this using my MISTI stamp positioning tool. I did have those frame pieces there just for placement, so I was sure that whatever I stamped would actually show through where that frame is going to be popped up. So I'm stamping Penny Black's Heart Song clear stamp, a beautiful, beautiful stamp. This is actually the second time I'm using this in a video, so if you're tired of seeing me paint this, just fast forward to the end. You can see how the card is assembled, but I just love this stamp so much. I'm stamping using Memento Toffee Crunch ink, again on that Canson 140-pound watercolor paper. I'm taking an extra small tip Faber-Castell PITT artist pen here and just outlining the bird, a couple spots on the bird just to darken that up. The rest of that stamping will give sort of a faux no line look, and I'm going to now apply some of that same Toffee Crunch ink using an ink blending tool and a foam pad, starting off of the edge and working my way on in a circular motion. And I'm doing this because I want some contrast between that background and then the rest of the card, so that white part of the rest of the card, sort of creating that window where you're looking in to see the bird. Now before I begin painting, I'm also going to stamp some extra background stamping here. Now I'm only really concerned about the little bit that's going to be showing through that sort of frame or that window that we're creating. And I am using Penny Black's Winter Branches to do that. And now I am ready. I've added those in a few different spots. I'm ready to paint this in. So I'm going to use Distress Ink Reinkers used as watercolors. And this is sort of right now my current favorite way to paint. I've got those in a palette, a paper towel, and some water off to the side. Now if you'd like a more detailed tutorial on how sort of my painting techniques and how I like to paint, I'll link a video for you down below that goes through things much slower and in much more detail. So I'll have that linked for you down below. In fact, all of the Penny Black products that I'm using are listed and linked for you down in the YouTube description box below. Also, I have a section where I will list other supplies. So if you want to know any of the exact colors I'm using of ink or paint or what paintbrush I have or any of that, I'll have that all listed for you down in the YouTube description box below. So I'm starting here just by painting in this beautiful bird. I'm picking up the color from my palette and I'm putting it down where I want it to be the darkest. Then off camera I rinse off my paintbrush, pat it dry on my paper towel, and go back and just blend that up. And that gets you sort of that dark to light blending, as you can see on the bird's wing. Now I can always go back and darken up areas. So I usually start a little bit lighter than I need to be and then go back and darken things up as I sort of compare them, like on this one, the wing to the other part of the bird. And like I said, this is the second time I'm painting this bird on camera, and I think I did exactly the same colors as the first time. So I hope you aren't too bored with that. Now I am going to be painting some red here, so you can see I put down a little bit of yellow. Now you could do that before the red or after the red, but I like to add that yellow just so as I blend out that red. So we've got scattered straw and barn door. Those are the colors I'm using there. It doesn't go too pink. I think that yellow just helps it be lighter and show that variation in color without it looking pink. So I'm just blending this in. This bird is actually quite easy to paint. You just have that sort of top part of the body and the wing. The chest of the bird is very easily marked, so you know where to stop and start those colors. And then I like to put just a little shadow underneath the wing, which you'll see here in just a moment. I've even used the stamp and painted the bird blue, and on this card I'm going to paint the berries red, but I've done it where I've painted the berries blue. So even with just one stamp you can get a lot of variation. It's fun even if you have lots of sketches you like to use. Take one stamp and try and use it with multiple different sketches. So it's another way to kind of stretch what you have in your stash. So I'm just going ahead and drying this before I move on. I knew I was going to be getting that beak up there, and I didn't want any of the areas around it to still be wet because then they would sort of bleed and blend into that little detailed area. And I'll get the feet here. Just kind of darken that up a little bit. And then I just went ahead and painted those berries red. And I'm just using one color of red on those. Now I knew I wanted to paint these red, which is why I went ahead and added that inking with the ink blending tool with the foam pad before I painted them, because I have found red takes a long time to dry and it really likes to smear. So if you know you're going to ink up a background and you know you're going to have something red painted, try and do your inking first. It'll save you a little bit of heartache. Now I'm just going ahead and painting in that branch, just darkening that up. You wouldn't have to do that, but I do really like the curve of this branch and how it looks, so I'm just painting over that. And now you can see everything's dry and I'm ready to assemble my card. So I'm going to take that front of the card, which I have stamped my sentiment on, and I'm just going to use regular Scotch tape to affix that frame in there. That's going to give it an inlay look. You could totally stop there, or you can add more dimension to your frames, or you could pop up this panel and put your frame down lower. So you have lots of different things you can play around with this design. I added foam tape to those pieces, and then I'm going to just add that on top of my card. And I just love how this gives that original sketch with that heart a totally different look, and it's used with different products as well. Now I wanted to, if you could keep it like this with that really sort of subtle inlay look, but I'm actually going to add another frame on top, which is going to create just a little extra dimension and make that frame a little bit more noticeable. And I'm even going to put another one on top. So now I have three, and I just love, this is so easy to do, and it really makes a difference and makes things look so dynamic, especially in person. I think it's a little bit harder to capture. Now I'm just going to trim off the extra. These are all standard size cards, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. And then I'm going to, looks like I'm doing another one. I didn't realize that I did so many. So yes, that's what happens when you do your voiceover much later than you made the cards and recorded. So I'm just going crazy adding frames on here, but I'll give you a close-up look on this when I'm done. You certainly wouldn't have to add this many, but if you have a bunch cut and you have extras, try it because it really does look neat. And honestly, for me, this is easier to do than it is to add like foam tape and try and cut those little pieces and pop those frames up. But look at that. Isn't that pretty? I do think that is really fun. Now I'm going to embellish this. I just have some snowflakes that were die cut. These are Penny Black Snow Time die cuts. Love the different sizes included in there. And I'm just going to layer those up, some on the frame, some off the frame. I think that finishes out that white space that's sort of around the focal point image, gives it a nice complete look. If it was a spring card, I'd probably put butterflies there, and if it's a winter card, out come the snowflakes. So I'll add those on. And then I will put some self-adhesive pearls on the center of those snowflakes. And there the card is complete. So let's take a look here at all of the cards using this sketch and that really beautiful inlay look with the frame. Things are popped up. Now on this one, I did not layer those up and I actually put the frame down directly onto the image. So it's sort of a reverse of that first one. And then here I did layer up that and I added a stamped and cutout image and I did some inking and stamping on that background panel. So lots of different ways you can use this sketch and that classy frame from Penny Black. So here's another look at these still shots. I'd love to know which one is your favorite. I think my favorite is probably the one we made in the video with the bird, but those teddy bears are close, and this is just another way to use that Take Flight stamp that we used in an earlier video. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Also hit that bell notification because we have more videos coming in this series and then you'll be notified every time they are uploaded. Thanks for watching.